All right, let's talk about one of the most frustrating things about AI. You've got this big, complex project in your head, you give it to the AI, and what you get back is, well, pretty much useless. Today, we're going to fix that for good.
So, does this look familiar? You have this huge, brilliant idea. You turn to your AI, thinking it's going to be your creative partner, but the answer it spits out is just flat. It's an incredibly common problem. But don't worry, this explainer is going to give you the blueprint to solve it.
And this right here, this slide just perfectly shows the problem. You ask for a complete, ready-to-go business plan, and the AI gives you a textbook definition of one. It's like asking a chef for a gourmet meal, and they just hand you a description of the ingredients. So what is going on here?
Well, this brings us to what I like to call the menu problem, and it's really the core reason why things go wrong when you ask an AI to handle a big, complex task.
You know, think about it like this. Telling someone to make Thanksgiving dinner isn't really a single step, is it? It's a whole series of projects that all have to work together. You've got the turkey, the stuffing, the pies. Each one has its own steps, its own timing. The big idea is completely useless without the individual recipes.
And that is the absolute key difference. When you give an AI a huge goal, it gives you back the menu. You know, a nice description of the final dish. But what you actually need to get anything done is the recipe, the exact step-by-step instructions to actually make it.
So why does the AI do this? Is it just being lazy? Well, not exactly. It's actually being super efficient, just not in the way that we actually want it to be. At its very core, an AI is built to find the most efficient route to an answer. So when you give it this vague, complicated request, it just defaults to the path of least resistance. It takes the easiest possible way to check the box and say, job done. And almost every single time, that easiest path is just giving you a summary. Why? Because these AIs are probabilistic systems. For them, spitting out a summary is way easier, computationally speaking, than actually executing a multi-step project. It's the safest, most statistically likely answer when it doesn't have a clear map to follow.
Okay, so how do we get the AI off this lazy path? How do we force it to stop describing the meal and actually start cooking? Well, this is where the chain of thought solution comes into play.
And honestly, it's this simple. Just by adding the instruction to think step by step or to follow a specific sequence, you completely override its default behavior. You're not just asking for a destination anymore. You're giving it the turn-by-turn directions to get there.
So, this is the official term for it. Chain of thought prompting, or CoT, basically makes the AI show its work. You're forcing it to explain its reasoning process one step at a time, which stops it from just jumping ahead to that lazy, shallow conclusion.
This really shows the fundamental shift in your role. You're no longer just a passive dreamer, kind of hoping for a good outcome. No, you become the master chef, carefully writing out the recipe that guarantees you're going to get a fantastic result.
All right, theory's great, but how do we actually do this? Let's walk through the 3-step blueprint for creating your own AI recipe. It's easier than you think.
The whole process is really simple. First, you define your final goal. That's the finished dish. What does success actually look like? Second, you break that goal down into logical, sequential steps. That's your recipe. And finally, you put all those steps together into a single structured prompt for the AI.
Let's make this really concrete. Say you want a social media calendar. Deconstructing it looks like this. You don't just say, make me a calendar. You tell it, first, I need you to analyze the brand identity. Second, brainstorm some post ideas for these content pillars. Third, write a killer caption for each of those ideas. And finally, put it all together in a nice markdown table. See? Each step builds on the last one. It's a logical chain.
And boom. Look at the result. This is the difference. Instead of getting a definition of what a content calendar is, you get an actual usable starting point formatted exactly the way you wanted. This is what happens when you give the AI the recipe instead of just the menu.
So let's just zoom out for a second and think about what this really means. This technique isn't just a trick. It fundamentally changes your entire relationship with AI.
This is a total mindset shift. You're not just crossing your fingers and hoping for a good result anymore. You are actively engineering the outcome you want. You are the architect of the AI's final output.
What you're really doing here is treating your language with the precision of computer code. You're not just making a vague suggestion, you're writing an executable program that tells the AI exactly what to build and precisely how to build it.
But look, being the master chef comes with some responsibility. Because you're the one designing the AI's logic, you're also the one accountable for the final dish.
It's now on you to make sure the recipe you write is designed to create something that's not just cool or impressive, but also truthful and genuinely helpful.
So there you have it. You now have the blueprint. You're not just a user anymore, you're the chef. You are the engineer. So the only question left is, what amazing, complex project are you going to build first?